What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Week 17, the final regular season week of the NFL. This is the Swolecast, presented by FantasyInsiders.com. We have Davis Maddock and Dan Gasper, a.k.a. Mr. Tuttle 05, on the show as normal, and a guy that you may not recognize because I think he thought this was the sexy cast. Evan Silva. Evan with some glasses, a new Peaky Blinders haircut. Like, what's going on, man?
New year, new Evan. New year, new Evan.
Yeah, well, after going all in on the Steelers passing game last week, I had to switch it up a little bit. I had to make some changes,
Evan, you were talking off air about your love for Peaky Blinders. Have you just now finished the second season?
Yeah, I did. It's such a badass show. Everybody's out here talking about making a
show's
murderer. I finished that, several weeks ago. I'm on to Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders. It's got
Mate.
Mate.
Threw in the mate.
It has the horse racing theme, but the whole chalk thing. That's where we get the term chalk for DFS. Is because when they put the chalkboards or the chalk bets on the board, like in Peaky Blinders, like that's where it came from. So, g'day, mate. Let's move on to the quarterback. Evan, can you give us your best your best English accent?
No, man, I'll leave that to you, Soccer Dave.
New year, same soccer Dave.
I can talk about quarterbacks though.
Yeah, let's talk about quarterbacks.
Or should we do the DraftKings lineup first?
I was gonna have you while I pulled up the DraftKings one because I figured you would make your first pick would be a quarterback pick.
Okay, so I guess the chalk at quarterback this week I think is probably going to be Eli Manning. That's unfortunate because I think that he's my favorite quarterback play. I think that Cam Newton is an awesome play as well in a stack with Greg Olsen with no Ted Ginn. And
hey, Evan,
I like if you want to go cheap at quarterback, I think you can look at Brian Hoyer.
Evan,
against the Jags.
You want to know who my number one quarterback is? Matt Ryan. How much do you love Matt Ryan this week?
I can't do it anymore. I can't do it.
All right. Evan, you want to start us off on the DraftKings lineup, and then we'll get back to quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. So I will start us off with Odell Beckham.
Davis?
David Johnson.
Well, two shockers right in a row. Dan?
I feel like I need to spice it up a little bit after that start.
But DJ's not even chalk this week. I don't think.
I'll continue with the chalk just because I'll go with the game stack with Odell, and probably the chalkiest tight end of the week with Zach Ertz on DraftKings at 3,600.
There we
go. All right. I will go with. I think it's time to give him a second chance. I'm gonna go with Matt Ryan.
If he's not getting a second chance against the Saints, he's never getting one.
Well, exactly. There's putrid, as our boy Laffy says, and then there's against the New Orleans Saints secondary.
I'm going to go with Colts D.
Probably not a bad thing against this Tennessee offense. Whew. Davis, you're up.
Yeah, so we have Matt Ryan. So, well, actually, you know what? We're gonna ride a Tut take, and we're gonna take Trey Mason at running back because there's zero reason for Todd Gurley to play in this game.
Evan, do you
Dig
agree
it.
with that? Evan, agree with the. Well, we lost Evan. Maybe he'll come back. Definitely want to get his take on Trey Mason. I mean, this is what Week 17 is about: is like figuring out the situation with who's going to play, who's not going to play. Like if you're going down, it's not even like narrative streets. Like just teams that really need to win versus teams that have the ability to rest their guys. Like Jets, they need to win. Davis, does that mean you're on your boy Decker this week? Because I like Marshall.
Oh, I mean, yeah, both of them for sure. But Decker, yeah, I mean, I saw a tweet the other day. I believe Raymond Summerlin tweeted that Decker in every game he's played this season has been between 10.6 and 19.7 FanDuel points. So he's had 0 clunkers, but he hasn't had one big explosive game either. But he's going for the 1,000-yard 12 TD season if he just does what Decker does in this game. So pretty high on Decker this week.
All right, Tuttle, your thoughts? We've got 2 wide receivers and a flex left, and around 7K per position. So we can spin
I
up.
I mean, I'll just continue the chalk trend and pair Matt Ryan with Julio Jones.
Nice.
You got the
I don't
Julio
think Trey
narrative
Mason's
this week.
Trey Mason's not going to be chalk though.
Yeah.
No,
no-
not at all. No,
No
he
chance.
he won't be. The thing is, you're gonna want. I think it's. It looks like we have doubtful for Gurley now, but obviously try to figure out and monitor the injuries heading into Sunday to make sure he's not a randomly a surprise active.
Yeah, well, doubtful never plays, right?
Yeah, I'll bet you $100, right? Mike Evans style.
I ran so well, not even run so bad. I've made 2 very donkey NFL bets over the last calendar year with people on Twitter, and that was one of them. That was really bad.
I would like if we can finally get Evan back here eventually, I would like to hear his take on the splits with Benny Cunningham and Trey Mason. I think Mason will get the majority of the work, but you're going to see Benny Cunningham get some work too, as well as the pass catching work.
All right, I'm going to make us work a little bit, and I'll go my boy Nucky. Don't call him Nuke Hopkins. So we've got 3,600 left in the flex, and we've got Odell, Julio, and Hopkins, wide receivers. So Evan's not here, so we'll just go ahead and let's look at some of the flex spots. We've got Nate Washington. Unfortunately, he's the same team. Anquan Bolden, maybe. Eddie Royal might be a
You left us
spot.
in a
Any
pretty
guys?
bad situation.
Well, I'm sorry. I told you. Make us work a little bit. If I
I
went
think
Brandon Marshall, we'd have 500 more. But I mean,
Well, yeah,
I
I
think
mean
it's still the same.
the only play is Nate Washington.
pretty much, but he's on the same team as good old Nuck. The problem is that there's actually, if we have $100 more even, then you can get like a Rashad Jennings, which wouldn't work very well with our roster construction. I know exactly what to do if you
Yeah,
guys are down
Dallas
with this.
defense.
Go down to Dallas defense, and then let's, this is going to be another injury dependent pick, but Maddox boy, Langford is actually in a pretty good spot.
Yep.
And he's exactly
It's the only
3,900. So that's injury dependent as well. You're gonna have to keep an eye on Matt Forte. The thing is, though, even if Forte plays, we're still looking at probably like 12 to 15 touches.
Yeah, I think
for
I'm playing
Langford.
Langford in cash regardless.
Cowboys not a bad defensive. Like the Cowboys are favored in this game.
Yep.
Tuttle, what is your take on this game? Like,
Well,
what's your
Redskins are
thought
gonna
process?
sit most. The idea is that the Redskins are not going to play their starters for possibly the start of the game, but at least the majority of the game. And then you actually look at the pace of play that both these teams are the bottom 2 in the league. So there's not going to be very many plays run at all. in this game, and it's which means lower possession totals and lower point totals.
Yeah, this game is pretty brutal, but it also is one of the reasons why I wonder how many dead lineups are going to be out there from just from a theory perspective. Like, how many people on DraftKings or FanDuel are going to be chasing points by going Jordan Reed at the tight end? Like,
Yeah, don't make
how
that
many
mistake.
people? I have a feeling there's going to be plenty of dead spots in
That's the
people's
only
lineups.
reason. That's the only reason I'm playing cash this week. Like every team I've made thus far, I've hated. Like I just hate every team that I've made. But I'm playing cash just because I know people are going to use guys who only play a half. And there's not one like last year, week 17. There was like the Nile Davis, like he was the only running back the Chiefs had active. He had like 35 touches. There's not one guy like that this week.
All right, so I think Evan is back with us. So Evan, we picked the lineup. It is Matt Ryan, David Johnson, Trey Mason, and then the three stud wide receivers: Beckham, Julio, and Nuke. Zach Ertz, Jeremy Langford, and then we overruled your Colts D with Cowboys D, so we could get Langford in.
Okay. I hope that Matt Forte is inactive on Sunday morning. I would love to play Jeremy
Yeah.
Oh, it'd
Langford.
be so. Dude,
Matt
I'd get to
Forte.
play Langford and DJ in the same week. Do you have any idea how much money I'm gonna make if Langford and DJ are the chalk? I'm gonna make so much money if that ends up being what happens.
Is Stephen Hill even on an
And
active
and
roster?
No,
and
but
Gurley
Decker
now
isn't.
listed as doubtful. Gurley listed as doubtful. I know you guys discussed Trey Mason just a minute ago, but I could barely hear it. He's 4,600 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
The game logs from early in the season don't look good, but Trey Mason was like injured at that time, and you get to use him against San Francisco, which I believe is 24th in Football Outsiders run defense DVOA. I mean he's pretty tempting. I think at 4,600 on FD.
So he's the back to use out of him and Benny Cunningham, correct?
Yeah, I mean Benny Cunningham is like a passing down back, like a poor man's Bilal Powell.
Yep.
Dang right. All right, let's continue. Let's continue the talk at quarterback, and you've got this. You've got some pretty. You got Hasselbeck and Andrew Luck that will not be playing. So some pretty bad. Just some pretty bad quarterbacks. You got this Washington game,
Jeremy
but then you
Johnson and
also
Cash.
no. You've only got one playoff seed decided. And so I'm curious as to Evan, your take on just how some of these game scripts will play out. Like, who are you comfortable in using, like high end quarterbacks?
Who are the punt plays at other positions that allow you to get to Cam Newton? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Do you think Cam Newton will go nuts?
Two of the running backs that Langford and Trey Mason, Rashad Jennings at running back. He's probably the strongest play out of all of them. Of course, he's the most expensive. Nate Washington at receiver, Zach Ertz at tight end, Colts D. That's just to name a few, I guess. I mean, you could make a case for Carlos Williams this week. It's a terrible matchup, but he was the clear lead back ahead of Gillisley last week. And the Bills were able to run on the Bills have had an awesome running game all season. They were able to run on the Jets when they squared off in Week 10. So also Eddie Lacy, he's had over 100 rushing yards in each of his 3 career meetings with Mike Zimmer's Vikings defense, and the Vikings are going to be without their stud nose tackle Linval Joseph. I think the best way to attack Minnesota is with a power running game, and that's Eddie Lacy.
I don't know if I can do that.
Eddie Lacy
But I
is
understand.
a nut play this week. He really is. I know Evan loves him some Frank Gore this week too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I love Frank Gore, but there are some narratives that you can get behind. I mean, I think Chuck Pagano, he discussed it twice this week in pressers that he wants to get Frank Gore to 1,000 rushing yards. Frank Gore needs 109 yards to get there. He said that Chuck Pagano said that his first priority is to get the win, and his second priority is to get Frank Gore to 1,000 rushing yards. But his quarterbacks are Ryan Lindley and Josh Freeman. So what's the best way for him to get a win? Probably to get Frank Gore to 1,000 rushing yards, against the Dolphins. That's certainly within the range of outcomes. I mean, I would say that I don't know if it's likely, but it's like probably a coin flip at worst.
All right. Any other quarterbacks that you like? Let's go to you, Dan.
Well, can I ask Evan this? Evan, have you heard anything about what Jacksonville's gonna do? Like, has the coach said anything about how they're gonna organize their game plan? Maybe Evan can't hear me.
Couldn't make it out.
He doesn't.
Did he say something about Jacksonville?
If Jackson, yeah, what are their coaches gonna do? Because if they just run their normal game plan, then Bortles is in play again for me.
Yeah,
Adam
Adam Leviton wrote up Blake Bortles. Adam Leviton wrote up Blake Bortles in his leverage column, and he thinks he's a great tournament play. I wouldn't disagree with that. It's a brutal matchup, but I mean I think that the Jaguars will do what they always try to do. And Julius Thomas had a big game against the Texans last time that they met. I don't know. I mean it's like a lot of people are not going to be on Bortles this week for sure.
Heard it here first.
Dan.
Bortles week part 7.
Dan, your thoughts at quarterback?
I think the absolute nut GPP play, DraftKings specifically, it works for both sites. Though is Ben Roethlisberger. He's only 6,900 on DraftKings, playing a horrible Cleveland defense. I think you'll see depressed ownership numbers because of the dud he did lay last week. So you got some recency bias playing into it. And then you also see most of the guys playing, or most people will get exposure to this game via D'Angelo Williams, who's also a really good play. But I think you're not going to see very high number ownership levels on Big Ben. We know his potential. 300-yard game is pretty much locked up, and then it's just a matter of how many touchdowns he throws after that.
Yeah, you have all the people that got burned by them last week, and you have all the people that are going to be on D'Angelo Williams. I think that he goes lower owned than a lot of people anticipate. I mean, I think Leviton had him at like 12%. I think it'll be even lower than that.
I agree. It'll be lower than that.
Here's the thing with the whole strategy perspective is that when you've got a backup quarterback, like you don't want to use a backup quarterback in your lineups, but you can pay up. There's no reason why you can't have Cam, Ben, whoever else, or at the very top, because of all these cheap guys. We mentioned 2 in Trey Mason and Jeremy Langford, and you've got other guys that are going to be in hashtag pretty good spots. So, I mean, feel free to pay up for your quarterback. What about Sam Bradford? This game, this game has the potential to go nuts. I think Bradford he'll be my GPP quarterback this week.
It's pretty kitchen-like play. It's a good kitchen play.
I don't know. I just if I'm going that low, then it's probably going to be like a Brian Hoyer versus Jacksonville. Yeah. I prefer that over somebody like Sam Bradford.
Or Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick's a great play, but not similar price range, really.
On DK, he's 5,400.
Yeah, DK
Bradford's
he is.
5,300.
Yeah, FanDuel, I think Fitzpatrick's like 1,000 more.
He's only 100 more than Bradford, and that same price. All those quarterbacks, of course, are in the same price range. All right, let's move on to running back. We talked. Go ahead.
Do you guys agree with me that the most common roster construction this week will be like mid-range quarterback price, one real cheap running back plus D'Angelo Williams, plus 2 of the stud wide receivers in perfect spots, plus a punt wide receiver, plus Zach Ertz. I mean, do you guys kind of agree that most people will do that?
That's the mega chalk. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it just
agree.
depends on that third wide receiver really, and what you want to do with it. Like how risque are you going with it? But let's get on to running backs. We mentioned like Trey Mason, really good spot, but David Johnson against Seattle. Davis, talk about your love for David Johnson because his price has crept up a little bit.
Well, he's the number 1 running back in fantasy over the last month. He has 5 touchdowns over that span. He has multiple receptions in all of those. He gets about 90% of the snaps when the game is close. You know, things did not work out that way last week with the multiple defensive touchdowns. He barely played in the second half. He had 15 DK points without the touchdown last week on, I believe, 13 or 14 touches. They use him as a wide receiver. Arizona is playing for the number 1 seed, whereas Seattle doesn't have a ton of incentive. Evan might know the playoff situation a little bit better, but I think that Seattle will know their fate before this game starts. So it's going to be a situation where Seattle could rest some guys, probably playing a little bit shorthanded, and DJ's floor is just so high, and they haven't adjusted his price at all. You know, he's $6,000 on DraftKings. I think he's $7,400 on FanDuel. Like, it's absolutely outrageous. Like, you can't. I don't know how you could not use him with his floor in cash games. Like, it just seems. I don't. It just seems dumb.
Well, Arians said that he doesn't believe in resting guys this week. So,
I mean, even
I
if
don't think.
I'll take 15. I think 15 touches is DJ's floor in this one, and 25 is his ceiling. And the argument that I've been having with everyone all week is Freeman versus DJ. And I think at the discount that you get DJ at in cash games, I think Freeman probably has a higher ceiling in tournaments just because that matchup is much better. But Freeman also is not scoring any long touchdowns. He has a month straight with less than 3.3 yards per carry in every contest. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if I'm being a donkey, Tuttle can tell me. But I just feel
No,
like there's a lot of things.
your donkey take that you've bet with us is that David Johnson will outscore Devontae Freeman. Price
Yeah,
insensitive. I think once you factor price into it, I think it becomes more of a discussion. And I don't. David Johnson is by no means a donkey play. I'm not saying that at all. He's a good play this week. There's nothing wrong with him. I just think if you're looking at both of them in the vacuum, then Freeman has a higher median projection than David Johnson.
probably.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
I'm playing. Who are you playing on FanDuel if you had to choose Freeman or Johnson? I'm going Freeman because I think
Yeah,
you
I'm
can.
definitely going Johnson. Yeah, I'm definitely going Johnson.
Tuttle?
I admittedly have not gotten far into FanDuel lineup construction to know if that extra 1100
So
is valuable, how valuable that is.
it's very valuable.
It's not.
Yeah,
very
then I
valuable.
wouldn't be able to. So I can't comment too closely on that. I will say the interesting part with the Freeman discussion is that it's kind of like the Big Ben discussion. You're going to have a lot of people on Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, where Freeman I think is going to, even though he's a very good play this week, and I think his ownership will probably be higher than Big Ben, but I still think it will be probably deflated from what it should be.
All right, Evan, would you like to weigh in on the Devonta Freeman situation?
I want to play Devonta Freeman in cash on FanDuel.
Boom. Boom. Now here's the part where Davis goes, you know what? Evan's right.
No,
Devonta
I'm
Freeman
not
is a
playing
better
it.
play on FanDuel.
I'm not
You
playing
will.
Devontae Freeman in cash because
By
I'm probably
Sunday, you
playing
will.
No. Mm-mm. I played
It's
Boban Marinovic in cash games on DraftKings the other night. Like, when I get stubborn about something, I'm not changing it even if I'm gonna lose. Like, it doesn't
I
matter.
know those 7 first half minutes that he had were torture to our Slack chat. Oh, by the way, we've opened up our Slack chat to Platinum members. You can go to it by going to Tools, and if you're a Platinum member, you can get a free invite. So it's been fun for everyone else to see some of the internal debates, struggles, arguments, sweats, all that good stuff. But those 7 minutes were insufferable in the first half. But I think people that are in the Slack chat will also see that you'll come around on Sunday and be like, man, Devonta Freeman, Evan's right. Evan's right. Okay.
Well, you can't do
I
Matt
do
Ryan,
think.
Devonta Freeman, and Julio Jones, though. You can't do all three of them. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know.
The thing
Hey,
is,
hey,
the thing is, I think you can. I'd like to hear Evan, but I think you can.
hey, let me throw something out there for you guys. Say
Throw
Kirk
it.
Cousins is inactive on Sunday morning. This is not obviously in play on DraftKings because of the crazy quarterback pricing, but Colt McCoy 5,000 on FanDuel.
No.
You can get some big
Can't
dogs
do it.
in, boy. They'll eat too. Big dogs will eat.
Not do it. Colt and okay, so we have like this thing where 4-letter quarterbacks, Vic, Met, and Cat, like that's the hashtag. Colt
Colt
and Cash will not be a thing.
I mean,
At all.
honestly, though, like,
If
with
Kitchen's
the
telling you not to
evaluation-
play a quarterback in cash, you know it's not a good play. If
This is
Kitchen is
Ryan.
given the now wave,
This is Ryan and Cash all over again. No, don't do that, people that are
If
listening.
if you
But
use Colt
go
McCoy,
ahead.
you could get in some studs, man. I mean, you could get in 3 big dog wide receivers, Devonta Freeman and David Johnson. I bet. Or you could come close.
Don't do it, mate. All right. I think if you're using, obviously we've got another day of news that has to break. But
my boy, do not use Colt McCoy.
Mason and Langford are going to make it where you can use Devonta Freeman. Absolutely. Or something like that. Some news like that will break that you will be able to use. Price does not factor out Devonta Freeman this week, I don't think. All right. Let's move on to some other running backs that we like. Does anybody have any issue with Buck Allen this week?
No, that's it. I really wish the game that he had last week would have happened the week before. Things in my life would be better and happier if that had happened.
yeah, I would have made a lot more money if that was the case.
Yeah. Those 0.8 points, though. Those 0.8 points were a good time.
Yeah, I'm pretty bitter about Buck. It's hard for me to get back on the train. I understand the reasoning for the play. He's obviously dirt cheap. On DraftKings though, and even on FanDuel where he is priced similarly to Eddie Lacy, I do prefer Eddie Lacy.
I'm thinking Colt McCoy, Rashad Ross, Darren McFadden, Bryce Butler game stack.
Oh God, yeah. where each offense only gets like 40 plays, 40 total plays.
Yeah, people will play Terrence Williams this week and Bryce. Like that. Definitely.
Dude, Bryce Butler's a legit good football player, though.
Awesome.
So, I don't know. I don't mind
Awesome.
throwing him out there in a tournament.
All right. Let's. Evan.
Wait,
any
hold
other
on,
running
hold
backs
on.
You like?
No, 1 second. Evan, I'm going to the Chiefs game on Sunday. Who do I use for Oakland? Are they gonna use my boy Andre Holmes? Is that gonna be a thing? Can I use Andre Holmes in a tournament?
You have to use somebody for the Raiders.
There's no reason. Oh, or I mean, Macklin is a lock, obviously.
I wouldn't want to use anybody for the Raiders.
All right, well that's upsetting.
Just play Derek Carr and hope for a shootout somehow.
Naked Derek Carr.
Yeah, naked Derek Carr.
All right, Evan. Running backs that you like.
Running backs that I like, I mean, I think I hit on all of them. Eddie Lacy. I think we got to take a hard look at Trey Mason at this point. Um, Rashad Jennings. I think that the Eagles, if you want to do a game stack of Eagles Giants, it makes a lot of sense to do that. And all those guys are affordable except for Odell, who he should be a money play anyways. Love Devonta Freeman. Um, we talked about
Give
Frank
me an
Gore.
Artist Payne take.
I don't think I'm going to play Artist Payne because I just think that his touchdown probability is so low. And this is a big game for them. Like, how much are they going to put onto the back of a rookie who really? I mean, what, he's got like 50 carries all season. I don't know. I mean, I totally get it. I wrote about him positively. I just don't. I don't know if he's a good bet for a touchdown. One guy I should mention though is McFadden against the Redskins.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that by the third quarter, the Cowboys, they'll have all their starters in. They'll have their starting offensive line in, and Darren McFadden will be running behind the Cowboys' offensive line against Redskins' backup defenders. So that makes him really attractive to me. The upside has not been there for him all season because he hasn't been scoring a lot of touchdowns, but he's got long run ability, and I think it's a good spot for him.
All right, let's move on to wide receiver. And you have to choose one high-priced wide receiver. Price doesn't factor in at all. But who is going to be the top scoring wide receiver this week, Evan?
I'm going with OBJ against Philly.
Davis.
Julio.
Dan?
When Davis says Julio, it's
It's a
Julio.
Julio week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really like him or Atlanta at all.
How sick is it that thinking 17 receptions and 243 yards is like an actual potential reasonable outcome for Julio? Like
The
what
coaching
he
staff
needs
said
to
they
break
want
the
to do
record.
it. The coaching staff said they want to do it.
That's crazy.
How do we even know that the coaching staff cares about those records?
They said they care.
I think Odell has a better
and,
chance at 243 receiving yards than Julio does.
Davis has a connection, and he told us that.
Nope. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. That didn't happen.
Oh, all right. Let's talk about if Martavis Bryant is like it. People say that he's sick. So if he's sick, what does that do to this Pittsburgh wide receiver core, Evan?
Evan.
I think Evan.
Steelers wide receivers.
You still think about Colt McCoy. Martavis.
I don't know what the question was. Dan, can you relay what the question was?
Yeah, let me relay it. So Martavis coming up on the injury report is questionable. If Martavis is unable to go, what does that do to the Steelers wide receivers?
Well, he practiced fully today, so I'd be shocked if he didn't play. But if he did, I mean, I would just want to go all in on Antonio Brown,
yeah.
I think Hayward Bay would take the place of Martavis, and Hayward Bay and Marcus Wheaton suck, and I want to go all in on AB.
All right, let's move on. Other who are some of the cheap wide receivers? You talked about cheap wide receivers. Dan, I'll start with you, and then you can toss it to Evan, and then we'll follow up with Davis.
Cheap wide receivers are actually kind of ugly this week, in my opinion. I think you're looking at he's a little better priced on DraftKings. If you want to chase points, and this is a little risky with the coaching change too, but Jordan Matthews finally putting up numbers, even though he only gets his touchdowns in the fourth quarter. You're looking at the fastest paced game of the week. I think Matthews is in decent position to put up some points too. He's got the best matchup on paper as well, playing most of his snaps in the slot. So I think he would be my number one kind of like cheaper receiver.
Yeah, I really like him this week. Which anytime I like Jordan Matthews, it hasn't been good. Evan,
Yeah, I like him too. I mean, my guy is Nate Washington, but I don't feel great about it. He and Jalen Strong essentially had the same usage last week. Both had 5 targets, played a little bit over 70% of the snaps. Jalen Strong has more talent than Nate Washington. But Nate Washington has been productive whenever Cecil Shorts has missed, and Cecil Shorts is ruled out. So Nate Washington right now is my punt wide receiver, but I think I would rather punt with a Trey Mason or maybe with a Langford than with Nate Washington. When I'm making my final decisions on Sunday morning.
that's fair. As far as Jordan Matthews and Nate Washington, both of them on my list so far. The two FanDuel teams I've created, they both have been the wide receiver 3, but neither of those guys spark any sort of confidence. Davis, who are some cheap wide receivers that you like this week?
Well, I'm gonna go back to the well with small, quick
Shocking.
wide receivers against Seattle. I think John Brown is a really, really good tournament play this week. Michael Floyd was limited in practice, didn't practice at all on Wednesday with some sort of lower body injury. I don't remember if it was a knee or a quad. But the big wide receiver games that we have seen Seattle give up in the past, specifically Richard Sherman, have been against guys and the Antonio Brown, John Brown, Jeremy Maclin type mold, as opposed to the Demaryius Thomas, Julio Jones type mold. So I really like him for tournaments. I wish I don't have any real clarity on what Seattle is gonna do, but I would obviously like Tyler Lockett again this week. Because Tyler Lockett, as Tuttle would say, he's played his way onto my list. He's on like a list of like 30 guys that I consider every single week, and he's cheap enough. But I don't know. I can't give a reasonable take about Jordan Matthews. Like Jordan Matthews should be a good play. He's been great. They're finally using him down the field a little bit, but I don't know. What is Pat Shurmur gonna do? I think Bradford's probably playing for an audition next year, which is interesting. I don't know. Matthews is definitely in play for cash on DraftKings at that price, though, for 100%.
Evan, what about this take right here? Josh Bellamy. How
Josh Bellamy and
how
cash.
donkey is that? 4,500, but you've got Zach Miller. Because it happened when I was looking up Zach Miller earlier, and he's listed as questionable. Alshon's not playing, and Royal is doubtful. Like, who is Cutler going to throw to this week?
Zach Miller.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's going to catch the passes. It could be Cameron Meredith. It could be, it could be a number of different people.
Mark Mariani, he was a favorite here in Nashville. Return kicks for the Titans.
Don't play Bellamy, David.
They don't have anybody. Marcus Wilson is out. Like, they do not have any receivers.
This
which
is a real Davis Maddock take, my boy.
I'd rather see you take a flyer on one of the Panthers receivers. I don't think you should play any in cash, but yeah, I want to hear Evan's take on the Panthers receivers. I know he's pro Greg Olsen. Panthers receivers are obviously too risky in cash, but if you had to pick one, who would you choose, Evan?
Funchess. He played a lot of snaps last week too. His issue has been playing time, but I noticed that he got a lot of work last week. I mean, I could look it up. I don't know. It stood out to me that his playing time went up last week, and now we have Ginn out, so he may play a lot.
And he's
because I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of with you on the take that it's gonna be a Cam Newton game, so they're gonna let Cam loose. So you got to think someone's
I
going to catch those passes.
I'm sorry, I screwed that up. He did not play a lot last week. He played 16 snaps last week. But yeah, I would think it would be Funchess who jumps into a starting role.
He's he would be a pivot play also as a GPP strategy to Nate Washington. Same price, 5,300 on FanDuel. All right, let's make a FanDuel lineup and then we'll get to tight ends. So Evan, you start out.
You know, I have Ertz everywhere right now, and it's so freaking chalky, and I don't like it. I mean, who else would you guys be looking at? Like, I would love to play Gronk, but the Patriots they announced that a bunch of their starters are going to be inactive. I mean, they ruled out guys who were just banged up, who were considered to be just banged up. That scares me for what are they going to do on Sunday? And I don't know. I would go. I like Greg Olson a lot though, for sure. These guys are expensive, you know.
Well, let's do a Cam Greg Olson lineup then. If everyone's going Ertz, we got him already in the DraftKings lineup.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go Olson.
All right,
Go
Cam.
Olson, Cam, and
Olsen.
skip my pick. So Davis, you're up. Dan, you're up.
I'm going to go Eddie Lacy. That's for you. I do think I do want to comment on it though, because I think I've actually seen in our chat and actually in other places too, a lot of people think that this is going to be more of like an Aaron Rodgers passing game. And I think if Packers are I don't think that's going to happen. I think if Packers are going to win this game, which I think they will, I think they're going to grind the ball. Starks got benched second half last week. I think Lacy's going to get a lot of touches this game.
You guys remember when Aaron Rodgers was good? I'm old enough to remember.
When he was a must play? Was it week?
Remember when he
or
had
week
Jordy
four?
Nelson as a healthy
Yeah.
wide receiver?
No, hey, I'm the biggest Aaron Rodgers. Like, I've called him the best quarterback in NFL history before. So, like, I don't need this lecture. It's just sad. It's sad to me that they still play Adams. It's sad.
I just
It was
built
pretty
the
disgusting.
legit GOAT Colt McCoy lineup. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it, Evan. Let's hear it. Let's hear these big dogs.
Colt McCoy, Devonta Freeman, Trey Mason, OBJ, Julio, Nuke Hopkins, Ertz, Bailey, Colts. What do you think?
There you
No?
go.
Not hot enough?
You're not stacking Colt with anybody? You're going naked. You're going naked McCoy out there.
Colt.
I love this is how you know Evan's not really serious. Is that last week we had to record a little earlier before the Thursday games, and Evan you heard him on the show. It's like this isn't going out till after the Thursday games, right? Like he did not want to give any Thursday nuggets, and yet he's giving away a free naked McCoy lineup.
Free Colt McCoy lineup. Just for you, our valued listeners.
Oh, that's a value add. All right. So we've got Cam, Eddie, Greg Olson, Davis. You're up.
John Brown.
Evan, do you think Fitzgerald plays?
Larry Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Why not?
I thought he was.
No,
I think
Floyd.
he plays.
Floyd is the one.
Floyd is gonna. Arian said that Floyd's gonna play. He's banged up.
Yeah.
Right. Davis likes John Brown either way, and I kind of do too. I like Carson Palmer as a tournament play for sure this week.
Because we've seen in these marquee matchups, the Seahawks offense is good enough now that they can get in shootouts. We saw it in the Steelers game, and I think that can happen in this game. I'm not I was 100% confident that the Steelers Seahawks game is going to turn into a shootout, and if the Seahawks decide to try and win this game, I feel that will be another likely outcome, but I don't know if they're going to try and win.
And not only
I'll
that,
go,
but I mean, there's been a lot of quarterback production. There have been some big quarterback weeks against Seattle this year. Carson Palmer was the QB5 earlier this season, at CenturyLink Field. This one is at University of Phoenix Stadium. Andy Dalton was the overall QB4 that week when Cincy played Seattle. Cam Newton was the overall QB9. Ben Roethlisberger threw for almost 500 yards against the Seahawks. Like they have trouble with upper echelon offenses.
All right, I'm going ahead and taking Langford. So we have 2 wide receivers, a kicker, and a defense left. Evan, you're up.
You got Langford on both teams?
Why not?
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
with Davis.
Langford
If
is
Langford-
the GOAT. Langford is the GOAT, dude. 100% exposure if Forte's out.
Dan just sounded so Wisconsin. Like that was you basically were on the stand and making of a murderer just now.
Tell me who we have first.
All right, we have Cam, Eddie, Langford, John Brown, Greg Olson, and nobody else.
Cam Olsen, Eddie. Sorry, I fell behind because I was building Colt McCoy lineups.
I know.
Cam, Eddie, Olsen, Langford,
John Brown.
Odell,
John Brown.
John Brown.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, we can go Odell though.
Yeah, let's go Odell.
So this is going to be a fade Julio lineup, which I'm okay with. Dan?
Let me see here. Do we know what we want at defense?
I mean,
Let's go Rams.
Colts are. I mean, in cash, I'm going Colts, but since we already did it in the other lineup, Rams.
Well, we didn't go Colts in the other lineup.
Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't.
Because if we go Colts min price kicker, then we can still get either Julio or if we want to go Antonio Brown.
Okay, let's do it then. Let's do it.
Who do you guys want, Julio or Antonio?
AB.
I think
Let's get some
go-
AB.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Some AB exposure.
All right. So
And then we
we've
have
got
48 for a kicker.
So we've got Davis's boy Santos. He can be like cheering for him at the stadium.
Yeah, there you go.
Cairo,
it's lit! It's lit!
Oh my God! Did you just see Cairo?
That guy's on my FanDuel team! Oh. No, I can't say FanDuel team because they're DK seats, so I can't actually cheer for him that loud. Kickers are the worst!
All right. Let's go. Tight end. It's Ertz, Olsen. Throw out some other guys. If Miller plays, he of course is out there. But throw out some
I'm
other
playing-
guys.
I'm playing Barnkowski in my Pittsburgh stack.
Any Heath Miller takes? Any Heath Miller takes? Anybody? I don't know. Tight end's such a mess. I've never seen a position so devoid of guys you want to play. Like, Ertz isn't even a good play. He's had 2 really good games in a row, but he's been nothing all year. Like, he's going to go 4 for 40, and everyone's going to be, like, tilting on Twitter when it's just like, that's what... The fella, David Loughran, in our seasonal draft, we could have taken Rob Gronkowski in the first round. Instead, we took Marshawn Lynch, and then Laffy, who wasn't even for sure if Zach Ertz was going to be on the team, took Zach Ertz in the 9th round of our seasonal league that we all did together. So I have nothing. I have nothing. I don't really have kind words for Zach Ertz.
Zach Miller, by the way, was DNP today. Did not practice. He didn't practice at all this week. These guys usually don't play when they have no practice all week.
That's what I'm saying. Josh Bellamy, dog. Josh Bellamy.
All right, man, play him. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Who's tight end then? Rob Hausler for the Bears. There you go.
I'm waiting for Evan. Evan usually gives some like you gave Vance McDonald. Like I'm waiting for like a Vance McDonald, Clyde.
Yeah, we need a hot
like
take.
something hot take, Evan. Like, come on.
I don't have anything.
Oh, Eric
I
Ebron hot take?
I think that Will Tye burned a lot of people last week, and you
Yeah.
saw what Jordan Reed did to the Redskins last week. Or, I'm sorry, to the Eagles last week, and Will Tye makes a lot of sense in Eli tournament lineups.
Yes. Good take. Good take, Evan.
All right. Well, that will do it for the Week 17 Swolecast, guys. It's been a fun regular season. I honestly don't know if we'll be back next week or not, and so it's been a fun regular season. We'll say that. Just this thing has gained more traction than I honestly thought would be possible. So when people are like, I was in Walmart the other day and someone was like, "Soccer Dave, met in cash," and I'm like, "Oh my
Stop
gosh,
it.
like this is embarrassing."
No, real talk. Tuttle can vouch. In San Diego, someone
This
recognized me
happened,
from the
yeah.
show, and I was like, I
Like 4
literally could
people
not have
did.
been more lit. I was just like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
like 4
it was
people
very
came up to him and were like, "Dude, you're from the Swolecast, right? Davis Maddox,
cool.
Swolecast."
And
He was so
Tuttle was right
excited.
next to me. Tuttle was right
Yeah.
next to me, and I don't think anyone approached him. Too
Maybe
mean.
that should be
No.
your
Mean,
move.
man.
Nope.
Did anyone come up to you, Davis, and ask if you had a hair tie?
No, I didn't even have time to pull that move last night, bro. I was I was up there with like all my very drunk friends. I babysitted on New Year's Eve. That was the move.
Was that the
Oh,
move? Was you were gonna ask a girl for a hair tie?
that
It's
was the
worse.
way he's gonna
That's an
kiss a
effective
girl.
move, man. No.
I
I
told
was
him.
trying to go
I
back.
told him that's
I
the
had
way
a
you
I had
get
a
put in the friend
roommate.
zone.
No, you're out of
All
touch.
right.
You're out of touch with the kids, my boys.
I probably am because. Anyways. All right. Well, so we'll leave Evan to making. You can tell how many Evan or Colt McCoy lineups he's making right now because he's just.
Dude, he's
We're
winning.
gonna
He's
sign
winning
off,
the
and he's
rush.
just clicking this.
He's just clicking away.
He's
All
winning
right.
the rush again with
so
Colt McCoy.
thanks for joining us. I was waiting for Davis to say he was a slinger. He was a slinger in college.
He wasn't
Way
though.
to
Colt
back.
McCoy wasn't even good in college. Case Keenum was actually
He's
good.
he's a slinger in Jeff Fisher's offense. He's gonna get those
Yeah.
15 pass attempts and just dominate.
Gunslinging Case Keenum. Never forget.
All right. All right. That'll be it for the Swolecast Week 17. Special thanks to Evan Silva from rotoworld.com for joining us. You can reach him at Evan Silva and catch his weekly matchup breakdown there on RotoWorld. And you can reach Davis Maddock at _ Davis Maddock. And
No, don't you dare. Don't
what?
you dare,
What?
sir.
No, you can reach his
that's
automatic
That's cheating, my boy.
automatic absolutes on Fantasy Insiders and also all of our rankings there as well. And again, we have Slack chat. If you think this Swolecast is fun, get in the Slack chat. Platinum members, you're all eligible, so get in there. All right, guys,
least you got your Davis. At least you got your Twitter handle mentioned. So
Oh,
You don't
sorry.
care about Twitter followers. You're too old.
All right, I'll give Dan the at Mr. Tuttle Twitter handle. That poor guy.
at Mr. Tuttle 05. At Mr. Tuttle 05. Don't go tweeting Mr. Tut Tut.
He does not like it. Mr. Tut Tut does not like it at all. All right, that'll be it. We'll see you guys later. Peace.